Hello and welcome to today's episode of Switch Mania. I am Clarence and I am here to bring you all the latest and greatest news on Nintendo Switch eShop sales. With so many amazing games being released, it's the perfect time to be a Switch owner. In this video, we'll be taking a look at some of the newest and hottest games that are currently on sale. So whether you're a seasoned gamer or just starting out, be sure to stick around for some great deals and discounts. So sit back, grab your Switch, and let's dive into the world of Nintendo eShop sales. First of all, I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to watch our video. Your support means a lot to us and we appreciate it greatly. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more great content like this. We post new videos almost every day, and you don't want to miss out on any of the exciting news we have planned. Plus, when you subscribe, you'll be the first to know when we go live or when we have a special announcement. First up is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a groundbreaking entry in the franchise that sets a new standard for open-world action-adventure games. Players are free to explore a vast and beautiful world filled with secrets, enemies, and puzzles to solve. The game's real-time combat system is a standout feature, requiring players to think strategically while facing off against powerful enemies. The game's visuals and audio design are simply stunning, with breathtaking landscapes and an epic musical score that perfectly complements the game's adventurous spirit. With a rich world filled with diverse cultures and deep history, Breath of the Wild offers players an unforgettable experience that they won't soon forget. Whether you're a fan of the series or just a lover of video games, this game is a must-play. Next up, Super One More Jump. Super One More Jump is a minimalist platformer that packs a punch. The goal is to navigate a small square character through increasingly difficult levels by jumping from platform to platform. The tight and responsive controls combined with a simple but challenging gameplay make for a highly addictive experience. The minimalist visual style provides a clean and uncluttered look that lets the gameplay take center stage, and the catchy soundtrack adds to the overall enjoyment. This game is easy to pick up and play, but difficult to put down as players strive to improve their score and reach higher levels. With its fast-paced action and increasing difficulty curve, Super One More Jump is a great choice for anyone looking for a quick, fun platformer to play on the go. Next is Tokyo Dark Remembrance. Tokyo Dark Remembrance is a captivating adventure game that blends elements of visual novels and point-and-click adventures to create a unique and atmospheric experience. The game takes place in a dark and mysterious version of Tokyo, where players must navigate the city and uncover the truth behind the disappearance of their partner. The choices players make throughout the game shape the story, leading to multiple branching paths and endings. The hand-drawn artwork and atmospheric soundtrack are beautifully crafted, adding to the game's dark and eerie atmosphere. The characters are well written and the voice acting is top-notch. The game's story is both thought-provoking and emotionally impactful, making it a must-play for fans of adventure games and visual novels. Overall, Tokyo Dark Remembrance is a standout experience that is not to be missed. Next up is Children of Morta. Children of Morta is an engaging action RPG that tells the story of the Bergson family and their journey to protect their home and world from an evil corruption. The game features a beautifully hand-drawn art style and an atmospheric soundtrack that perfectly complements the game's engaging story. The gameplay is fast-paced and challenging, with players battling against waves of enemies using a variety of characters, each with their own unique skills and abilities. The game also features a deep progression system, allowing players to upgrade their characters and equipment as they progress through the game. The game's story is well written and emotionally impactful, making the players invested in the characters and the world they inhabit. Overall, Children of Morta is a standout experience that is not to be missed by fans of action RPGs and story-driven games. Next is Moonlighter. Moonlighter is an engaging and unique blend of action RPG and shopkeeping simulation. Players control Will, the owner of an equipment shop in a small town, as he sets out on daring adventures to gather treasures and supplies to sell in his shop. The game's fast-paced action RPG gameplay is challenging and rewarding, as players battle against powerful enemies and discover valuable loot to sell in their shop. The shopkeeping simulation aspect of the game is equally engaging, requiring players to manage inventory, set prices, and interact with customers to maximize profit. The game's beautiful pixel art style and atmospheric soundtrack add to the overall experience. The game's story is well written, with interesting characters and a charming world to explore. Overall, Moonlighter is a must-play for fans of action RPGs and simulation games. Next up is This War of of Mine Complete Edition. This War of Mine Complete Edition is a sobering and thought-provoking survival game that puts players in the shoes of a group of civilians trying to survive in a war-torn city. The game offers a unique perspective on war, showing the devastating effects it has on civilians and the difficult decisions they must make to survive. The game's beautifully drawn graphics and atmospheric soundtrack creates a tense and immersive environment. The gameplay is challenging as players must manage their resources, scavenge for food and supplies, and make decisions that will impact the survival of their group. The game's story is impactful, touching on themes of humanity, morality, and the cost of war. This War of Mine Complete Edition is a standout experience that offers a unique and powerful commentary on the effects of war. It is a must-play for fans of survival games and anyone interested in exploring the human cost of conflict. Next is Beat Cop. Beat Cop is a unique blend of point-and-click adventure and simulation that puts players in the role of a New York City police officer trying to solve a mystery while navigating in the corrupt and unpredictable world of the police force. The game's retro pixel art style and humorous writing create a light-hearted atmosphere that belies the dark and sometimes brutal world players are tasked with navigating. The gameplay is engaging, with players making decisions that will impact their reputation and relationships with different characters in the game. The game's story is well written and filled with twists and turns, making players constantly question who they can trust. Beat Cop is a must-play for fans of adventure games and anyone looking for a darkly humorous take on the police procedural genre. Next up is What Comes After. What Comes After is a touching and thought-provoking walking simulator that explores themes of loss, grief, and acceptance. The game takes players on a journey through a beautiful otherworldly landscapes as they follow the story of a lone character on a quest to find meaning and purpose after a personal loss. The game's graphics are simple but impactful, and the atmospheric soundtrack creates a peaceful and contemplative mood. The game's story is told through subtle hints and symbols, allowing players to draw their own conclusion and interpretations. The gameplay is relaxed and meditative, allowing players to take their time and fully immerse themselves in the game's world. What Comes After is a standout experience that is not to be missed by fans of walking simulators and anyone looking for a reflective and introspective gaming experience. Next is OlliOlli Switch Stance. OlliOlli Switch Stance is an adrenaline-fueled skateboarding game that offers fast-paced, challenging gameplay and a classic arcade feel. The game features beautifully animated 2D graphics and an upbeat soundtrack that perfectly captures the energy and excitement of skateboarding. The gameplay is tight and responsive, with players performing a variety of tricks and combos to rack up high scores and progress through the game's many levels. The game's trick system is deep and intuitive, allowing players to pull off impressive stunts with ease. The game also features a robust online leaderboard, allowing players to compete against other players from around the world. OlliOlli Switch Stance is a must-play for fans of skateboarding games and anyone looking for an addictive and challenging arcade experience. Next is HyperParasite. HyperParasite is a fast-paced and chaotic twin-stick shooter that puts players in the role of a shape-shifting parasite on a mission to take over the world. The game's neon-drenched graphics and thumping electronic soundtrack create a wild and vibrant atmosphere that perfectly complements the game's high-speed action. The gameplay is fast and frenetic, with players using their shape-shifting abilities to take control of various characters and battle against waves of enemies. The game's character roster is diverse and unique, each offering a different playstyle and abilities to master. The game's retro-inspired design and humor add to the overall experience, making HyperParasite a standout experience for fans of twin-stick shooters and anyone looking for an adrenaline-fueled romp. Next is Candleman. Candleman is a charming and atmospheric puzzle platformer that puts players in the role of a small candle on a journey to find its way home. The game's gorgeous hand-drawn graphics and haunting soundtrack create a magical and immersive world that players will want to explore. The gameplay is challenging but fair, with players using the candle's limited light to navigate through each level and overcome obstacles. The game's puzzles are well designed and satisfying to solve, with a good balance of challenge and reward. The game's story is told through subtle hints and symbols, adding depth and meaning to the player's journey. Candleman is a must-play for fans of puzzle platformers and anyone looking for a beautiful and captivating gaming experience. Now I have some exciting news to share with you all. According to my analytics, analytics, 88% of you who have watched my videos are not subscribed to my channel yet. Can you believe that? That's a huge number of viewers who are missing out on all the new content I have in store. I understand that there's a lot of great content out there, but I promise you won't regret subscribing to my channel. From gameplay highlights to in-depth reviews, I bring you the latest and greatest on the Nintendo Switch scene. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and become a part of this amazing community. I'll be sure to keep the content coming and I can't wait to see what you think of it. Next up is AngerForce Reloaded. AngerForce Reloaded is a fast-paced retro-style side-scrolling shoot-'em-up that offers challenging and intense gameplay. The game's vibrant graphics and upbeat soundtrack create a classic arcade feel, perfectly complementing the game's high-speed action. The gameplay is tight and responsive, with players battling against waves of enemies and avoiding incoming projectiles. The game's boss fights are especially noteworthy, offering challenging and satisfying battles that test players' skills. The game's difficulty is high, making it a great choice for hardcore shoot-'em-up fans looking for a real challenge. AngerForce Reloaded is a standout experience for fans of retro-style games and anyone looking for an adrenaline-fueled shooter. Next is Heaven Dust 2. Heaven Dust 2 is a must-have for fans of survival horror games. It's a clear homage to Resident Evil, and despite being played from an isometric perspective, it gives you the same feeling as the original games. Even though the story is based on an old idea, it manages to surprise you, and the setting allows you to lose yourself in the game for the few hours you'll spend with it. Heaven Dust 2 is the most enjoyable survivor horror game I've played in a long time. It's perfect in the sense that it feels like it's from the past. It also has a rewarding campaign structure and simple battle that requires some strategy. Heaven Dust 2 is a fantastic game for fans of Capcom's classic survival horror titles. A fantastic independent game that will transport us to a different era. Next is Aragami Shadow Edition. Aragami Shadow Edition is a stealth action game that puts players in the role of a powerful assassin with the ability to control shadows. The game's beautifully rendered graphics and haunting soundtrack creates a rich and immersive world that players will want to explore. The gameplay is challenging but rewarding, with players using their shadow abilities to navigate through each level and take out enemies undetected. The game's combat system is fluid and intuitive, allowing players to choose between stealthy or aggressive playstyles. The game's story is compelling, with a well-written and emotionally charged narrative that keeps players engaged throughout. Aragami Shadow Edition is a must-play for fans of stealth action games and anyone looking for a rich and immersive gaming experience. Next is Vaporum. Vaporum is a steampunk-themed dungeon crawler that takes players on a journey through a mysterious tower filled with dangers and secrets. The game's detailed graphics combined with its atmospheric soundtrack creates a highly immersive gaming environment. Players control a character in a powered exosuit, exploring the tower and battling enemies using a variety of weapons and abilities. The game's combat system is fast-paced and challenging, making it a great choice for fans of action-packed dungeon crawlers. The game's extensive skill tree and upgrade system add depth to the gameplay and give players the ability to tailor their character to their preferred playstyle. Vaporum is a standout experience for fans of dungeon crawlers and anyone looking for a challenging and immersive gaming experience. Next is Sparklite. Sparklite does an excellent job of taking what works in the 2D Zelda genre and incorporating their own style and feel into the design. Where it falls short is that it lacks the Legend of Zelda's enjoyable maps and dungeons. Instead, it relies on tedious and repetitive procedural generation. Sparklite is a good game for action RPG genre fans because you can find new items and defeat enemies in a variety of ways. Sparklite was one of my favorite games because of how welcoming it felt, even though it's partly due to the fact that it's a fun adventure game. I think what really appeals to me is how simple the controls are. You do not need to learn complex systems or improve your reaction times. You just go in and have a good time without feeling like you're being talked down to or that things are too simple. There's definitely room for laid-back fun in roguelikes, and Sparklite provided me with just that. Next is Hayfever. Hayfever is a fast-paced arcade-style game that challenges players to survive as long as they can against a never-ending barrage of pollen. The game's colorful graphics and upbeat soundtrack create a light-hearted and fun gaming experience. The gameplay is simple and addictive, with players tapping the screen to dodge incoming pollen and collect points. The game's difficulty level increases over time, making it a great choice for fans of challenging arcade games. Hayfever is a standout experience for fans of arcade-style games and anyone looking for a light-hearted and fun gaming experience. Its quick and easy gameplay makes it a great choice for casual gamers, while its increasing difficulty level will keep more experienced gamers engaged. Next is the Count Lucanor. I can't say much more about this little gem without giving something away, and since there's no fat on these bones, saying even a little more would be wrong, but I can say that this small unassuming independent game is a masterclass in tight focused design, and it provides a great experience with many layers. The Count Lucanor is great fun. It's funny, scary, smart, and creepy at all times. After I got over the fact that Hans walks too slowly, I began to delve deeply into the mythology of the castle. The story was intriguing and the puzzles were sufficiently difficult. The only disadvantage is that you can only play it once. It's an interesting thing to do, but you can only be shocked so many times by a severed head surrounded by dancing goats. Next up is HoPiKo. HoPiKo is a fast-paced, challenging platformer that takes players on a journey through a world of code. The game's vibrant graphics and energetic soundtrack create an engaging and entertaining gaming experience. The gameplay is fast and challenging, with players jumping and dodging their way through the game's many levels. The game's levels are designed to be completed in a matter of seconds, making it a great choice for fans of high-speed platformers. The game's difficulty level increases over time, making it a great choice for fans of challenging games. HoPiKo is a standout experience for fans of platformers and anyone looking for a fast-paced and challenging gaming experience. Next up is Death Squared. Death Squared is a charming and challenging puzzle game that is perfect for both solo play and cooperative multiplayer. The game's bright and colorful graphics create a cheerful and inviting environment, while its quirky sense of humor keeps things light and fun. The gameplay is fun but challenging, requiring players to navigate a series of increasingly difficult levels filled with hazards, obstacles, and puzzles. The game's cooperative multiplayer mode is especially enjoyable, with players working together to navigate each level and overcome its challenges. The puzzles are well designed, offering players a good mix of challenge and satisfaction. Overall, Death Squared is a great choice for anyone looking for a fun and engaging puzzle game, especially for those looking for a cooperative multiplayer experience. Its bright graphics, charming humor, and challenging puzzles makes it a standout experience in the puzzle genre, and it is sure to provide hours of entertainment. And last but not the least, Donut Dodo. Donut Dodo is a small sweet treat that resembles a donut and can be consumed in a few bites. However, the delicious flavor will entice you to reach for another, and you'll most likely return for more as you go about your other business. This arcade game is a good buy for anyone who misses the quarter-eating arcade games of the 1980s, especially given how cheap it is. Donut Dodo is a fantastic game for fans of old-school arcade games because it introduces them to something new. It's not a remake, it's a brand new game that looks, sounds, and plays like it should have been released in 1980s. It's a low-cost but effective addition to your digital arcade. Donut Dodo looks and sounds like a long-lost 1980s arcade game, right down to the screen ratio and chiptune music. Sure, Pixel Games incorporates a few modern features to ensure that the game does not feel dated. I hope you enjoyed this video showcasing the latest Nintendo eShop sales. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment below letting me know which game you're most excited to play. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all my latest videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.